guess the biggest thing that's been occupying time over the last month is the new countywide EMS system.
The county has hired 45 paramedics, and we are staffing 14 quick response vehicles, or QRVs if you hear that term. We're doing that in partnership with ANMED. They have pledged $1.4 million to this project. In addition to that, the county awarded a contract to MedSure. And MedSure's job is to primarily provide transport. And our job is to get there as fast as humanly possible and render emergency aid, stabilization, and maybe even see whether a transport unit is needed, because we get all kinds of calls. But those QRVs are all staffed by paramedics, and as you know, there are 3 levels of EMTs, and paramedic is the top rung. So they can dispatch instantly. They're placed all over the county to serve the whole county. And MedSure is required to have ambulances, a certain number of ambulances, and that number can change and go up based on conditions. And so you have 14 QRVs in the county, and you have all of the vehicles from MedSure. But this is really like a 3-legged stool, because everything begins with dispatch. And this is a lot of work for our dispatchers, who have the hardest job in the United States of America, any dispatcher anywhere. So dispatch has got used to the new system. Our QRVs, brand new. We had 3 before, but they were in less populated, underserved areas. And now, with that being countywide, with dispatch, and integrating this with priority ambulance service, the last 4 or 5 days have been running really, really, really well. Will we ever be perfect? We will never be perfect, but our goal is perfection, because somebody's life is hanging in the balance. Okay. The placement of these vehicles is extremely important. How they're dispatched, because when one moves, another is supposed to move halfway to take its place. It's quite complicated, but I think we're finally getting and hitting the rhythm, and we're going to make it work. And I think Anderson County residents are going to be safer.
We've talked about enough, and there's no official numbers in, but some of the towns and cities feel like they were undercounted because of their annexation, didn't get in.
Well, everybody in the United States, and you can imagine doing a census of everybody in the United States of America, and legitimately so, people have complaints about it, but you're never going to get it absolutely perfect. And you know, the county, we put a lot of time and effort to make sure everybody's counted, and we had a lot of good citizens groups who were out there trying to help us get a good count on it. But you can only do so much, and then some people say, I'm not participating, I'm not going to do it, and there's nothing you can do about that.
One of the other big things that's popped up is the $39 million in the Relief Act funding that council's approved. Explain why that's a big deal and what the county will be able to do going forward with that money.
Well, this was in essence, the first relief package, and every town and every county received money based on population. The first thing that money was supposed to be was to replace money that those entities lost due to COVID. Because, I mean, you know, a lot of places depend on business license or hospitality or accommodations fees, all kinds of fees. Well, when everybody was locked in their houses and people couldn't pay taxes because they couldn't work, so just about every town and every county took a hit. A portion of that money goes to replace that, so there's not a dip. You don't come back and you slam that on the property owners and saying, well, we had a bad time. So that's what that part of that was. A large portion of that money is we're going to look at some basic infrastructure in Anderson County and run some new sewer lines in places where growth will occur, primarily industrial growth, a lot of it near the interstate. Our wastewater treatment plant at 6 and 20 at 81 and 85 is 35 years old, and we're going to redo how that works. But a lot of the things we're going to do, and people don't mention this, is going to make us more environmentally friendly. You have some treatment plants on Lake Hartwell, and they're small, and they're old, and they're aging, and they're in private hands. We're going, with our project going to exit 14, we're going to close all of those little systems up and put it in one system. And I'm proud to say, after many years and months, the town of Pendleton, the town of Clemson, and Anderson County have all signed a memorandum of understanding for us to increase the size of the existing Pendleton wastewater treatment plant. So that's going to be huge for that northern end of the county and coming down Clemson Boulevard. But it's going to make it a safer environment. We're looking to close the sewer treatment plant at LaFrance and put that in our system. So a lot of this is going to, increase economic opportunities, but it's also going to be a benefit for the environment, and it's also going to fix our 5-mile sewer line, which is the sewer line really, which runs all through the middle of town, and that's really the backbone of the sewer system for Anderson County. And we've been able to fix 2 sections of it, but this is going to allow us to complete it. Plus, we have some projects in the southern part of the county that we need to do, and this is going to give us the money to do that. So a large portion of that money, council in their wisdom decided that that's what we're going to do. Council also decided that in some of the agencies who were really hit hard by COVID, most nonprofits suffered during the COVID crisis because people didn't have money to volunteer or to give. So one of our big partners has been Anderson Interfaith Ministries, AIM. They have been right there with us, helping us build steps for people who needed handicapped access. They're running our rent program where we try to help people with their rent payments and really make them whole. And so they've stepped up to do that. They've already pushed out over $2 million. That's $2 million that stays right here in Anderson County. So they've done that. They've also helped us tremendously with food. So council decided to give them an allocation to help them continue doing their good works. Also, the free clinic, they had everything perfect, and then they had that little water leak and caused a whole lot of problems. But they get people in a certain area that don't qualify for this and can't afford this. But they provide medical care, prescription drugs, dental care. So council wanted to help them. Council helps the free clinic every year in the annual budget. But due to COVID, they wanted to help them a little bit more. So they allocated money to them. And then another thing that we have done, the library came up with an excellent idea about trying to do something to address people in Anderson County who don't have good internet connections. So they're going to do a program where they're going to let you check out a mobile hotspot. And it's going to start small, but it's going to be a great program, and we're going to see how that works. And if the library's comfortable, we'll continue, but they're supporting the library in that. And one of the things I think council's really wanted to see, we've looked at transportation issues. Every government in the United States of America looks at transportation issues. We have a lot of industries up at 81 and 85 that are growing, and more coming there. More jobs are coming there. I'm telling you, there are 350 that we haven't even announced that are coming there. But we looked at running a bus line up there, but the buses only run during the day. And the buses don't G-haul with the schedule at Walgreens or at TTI or Francochet. So what we're going to do, the council is going to do, and we're going to put this in the Development Corporation of Anderson County, Bruce Nelson's the president of that, is we're going to, and we've partnership with Uber, and we will subsidize those rides, not forever, but long enough for somebody to get a job, get back and forth to work, and get established, and then they can find their own transportation. So council has allocated out of the relief money $75,000 to see if that works. We're also expecting to receive contributions from industries. The biggest problem that our companies have right now is finding people. We have a huge number of people who want to go to work, they can't get to work. So if we can bridge that gap long enough for them to go to work, get a paycheck, 2 paychecks, 3 paychecks, then they can get up on their own. We already have a car dealership who's expressed interest, serious interest, and if you can get these people and they have a regular income, that we will work with them to see if we can't put them in a vehicle. The Mercy Center on South Main, right. Council also worked to get them money. Right. Now they have that, and it's up and running on a small scale. Right. But theirs is, in addition to just the ride, it's also faith-based. And they also do some life skills and things like that. But council has supported that mission, and it showed it would work. And I know it will work, and it works on your schedule. If you have to go to work on third shift, you can get there now, and you can get back home. And so we just think this is a great, exciting program. I don't know of anybody else in South Carolina who's doing that. I'm familiar with a couple of them on the West Coast. That's where the idea came from. So we're going to see how that works, and I hope it's successful.
And I don't want to leave the infrastructure thing. Without proper wastewater sewer treatment, we can't grow. We can't have new houses. We can't grow at all.
You can't do anything. You can't do anything. And another thing, what we're hoping to do is take another plant and put a place for people to dispose of septic waste. We have lots of people in Anderson County in a septic tank. They have to carry their waste right now to Ware Shoals, South Carolina. They don't carry it, but haulers do. And our individual homeowners get socked with a large bill to haul off that septic waste. And so we're looking for a way to help them, because right now there's no place in Anderson County for them to take that. Now, if you live in the Rewa territory, you can take it to Greenville, but that still costs. They need something. The county needs something for people to have septic tanks so they can be serviced too.
Speaking of growth, Pelzer just announced a major growth project today.
We had a wonderful meeting in Pelzer, and I'd like to thank Councilwoman Cindy Wilson, who's championed that for time immemorial. Steve Newton, who works here with us, has been a champion on that. Gail Jeter with Cardno has been a champion on that. And interesting thing, I knew Leon Harmon before he became the county attorney, because Leon was working for a law firm, and he was really one of the prime movers on the PCB settlement money. So that's how I got to meet Leon. But while I was talking to Leon has a big heart, and the people in Pelzer needed some legal advice. So Leon, not while he was working for the county, volunteered his time for free to help them get started, and they recognized his huge contribution. But they announced 2 housing developments and the biscuit and beer brewery and restaurant. The husband of the husband and wife team, the wife grew up in Pelzer and moved to New York, and she wanted to come home. So she's going into the old mill office at the Pelzer Mill, where her mother worked until she retired. The husband was on the Today Show 2 weeks ago, because they were spotlighting black-owned businesses in New York City, and he was on there. So, and they're coming home, as they say, and they're going to open that up, and I think it's going to be a huge success right there on the river. And all of this is right there on the river. So you're going to have senior living apartments. You're going to have affordable homes, cottages overlooking the river. And I think that's just the springboard, but it's taken a long time to get to that point. But I think it's going to be fabulous. And there's a gentleman over there, Larry Coker, and Mr. Coker has worked harder than any 7 people. Started off with him and his Pelzer Heritage Group, but that man is a saint and a legend, and he was there today to see what he started, and it was just a blessing.
Is Pelzer, West Pelzer, Williamston going to be the next Piedmont Powdersville?
The mayor of Williamston was there today, Rocky, and Rocky has about 900 houses going up in Williamston. Not in one place. If I'm remembering correctly from talking to him today, in 3 different places. And he's also working real hard on the interior trail system in Williamston and tying it into Pelzer and West Pelzer. And so they're going gangbusters over there. And he was hoping to have his pickleball courts up, but they had to do something with the soil. So they've already allocated the money for that. So hopefully, I think he said by next spring, there'll be new pickleball courts in Williamston. And as you know, there are not enough pickleball courts in the United States of America. As fast as you build them, they're in constant use.
And this is unusual to have 3 towns that work that closely together. I don't remember those 3 ever working that closely together.
They work very well together. You have some bright Will, the mayor of Pelzer's bright and dedicated, wants to do good things. Blake, the mayor of West Pelzer, he works as hard as he can. Rocky's works as hard as he can. And they know the benefit of cooperation. If it's good for one, it's good for all of them.
What about Piedmont and Powdersville? What are we looking at there? Because their growth is just almost unmanaged.
Well, when they kick off the downtown Piedmont project and some of the other developments that they have working in that area is going to blow. It's going to blow fast. But I was talking to the mayor of Belton, Eleanor Dorn. She's a fantastic lady. She has 3 new subdivisions going to Belton, and Alicia Hunter, who is our land use guru, boss, head of everything, is working with Belton. But 3 new subdivisions in Belton, they all want to annex into the city limits, and that's just a blessed event. It is just wonderful. And it's getting towards Honeypath, and I think, it's coming that way, the riverway to Belton and Honeypath, and I think Iowa, down in that direction, it's going to come straight down that Main Street Road right there and go there and hit there, and you can already begin to see it.
And Pendleton cleaning up the oil mill, they're
Cleaning up the oil mill. Right now, they're working today to take that oil mill down. Give the mayor and the council a whole lot of credit for that. They have stuck with that. They've wrestled with that. And, people always say, well, why don't you just go tear it down? Well, A, wonder if you don't own it. B, wonder if the person doesn't cooperate. Okay, now we're going to tear down the oil mill. Oh, did you know it was a fertilizer plant for 152 years? You know what they make bombs with? They make it out of fertilizer. So it's not that easy, but they're tearing it down today.
Several people mentioned, Burris has mentioned, y'all got some more big announcements coming.
We do.
You don't have to say who they are, but what kind of things are we looking at?
We have a company that's going to hire hundreds of people, a logistics operation. We have more spec buildings coming up. We have a lot of new jobs coming up. One of our SyncMD, which is in our incubator at our TTI facility, or our facility, the old TTI facility, is written up in Yahoo News today. And a huge article about SyncMD. Right here, they moved from Washington State to Anderson County. They're in our building while they get up and running here. And so that's just great. And it says, we moved, this is in Yahoo National, okay? We moved from there to Anderson, and it's wonderful, and everybody's helping us, and it's great.
And TTI is more expansion out there. We just talked
More
about
expansion. We'll have another meeting with them, I think, next week.
How many acres are they adding out there?
Well, I think just recently they've added 120, and I think they want to get some more. And I know that they need to do some road work out there. That's what we'll be meeting with them about next week. So that's going to be very exciting.
Anything else in economic development coming between now and the holidays?
Oh, yeah.
Nothing you can talk about yet.
Nothing we can talk about, but
Right.
yes, it's guaranteed. It's in the bank, but we have to be conscious of when they want to announce, and it's for business reasons, competitor reasons, and all of those things. But we know, they've already bought land. We know it's going to happen.
They had Celebrate Anderson a few weeks ago. You had a good crowds for that. What else is going on at the Civic Center?
We had a huge crowd. Well, every day something's going on at the Civic Center, whether it's a gun show, James Gregory's coming back to the Civic Center. We've got something I'm excited about, a Celtic Christmas show that's coming out there. I'm looking forward to that. I watched some of the stuff they did. I think that's going to be great. And I think that more events are coming to the Civic Center, musical events. It's used every day, and people don't realize that, for all types of different purposes, consignment sales, gun shows, just rent it for training. The Brick Council's been coming here for years. They're going to eat it up for a solid week. So that building gets a whole lot of use. I don't know what we would do if we didn't have it.
And the county's got somebody you've hired to market those, try to get more acts in. People don't realize they're trying to.
Yeah, we're doing that, but you also have to remember that's just now getting cranked back up. Artists out on the road, but I think it's coming full force. And if you listen to the national news, the COVID is again in a decline, but it seems like that may be easing off. So we're hoping so.
And right there on that property, Kid Venture, where are we at on that?
We're probably a day or two away from releasing the Kid Venture plans for bid, and that is going to be huge. Kid Venture is beloved and has been used for a lot of years, but it's time to do Kid Venture, not 2.0, but 3.0. And we're looking forward to that. We're about to start, if it hadn't been raining, on our new basketball/soccer development down at Wellington Park. And I'm just as excited about that as I'm excited about, we are almost at the end of cleaning up the Viva Tire site. The grass is pretty and green down there. We have one more building to take down, but that building is highly contaminated. We were able to secure additional money to clean up that building, and we're going to take it down, and it's just going to be a beautiful meadow. Nobody's going to go there. Nobody's going to trash it ever again. It's just going to be a natural area. We're also excited that the Homeland Park Fire Department, that their new fire department's up. County Councilman Davis and Councilman Dunn contributed a large amount of money to help them do some work down there. We've also been down in Homeland Park Councilman Dunn's area to do some tree removal and grading for the new water office that's going in Homeland Park. So we've got something happening just about everywhere. After we get over the grand opening of the airport terminal, the next thing we're going to be doing is getting ready to put a playground out there. And it's going to be an aviation-themed playground. But because we're putting it where we always thought we would, it's already flat. And so most of that money is going to go in equipment and not in the necessary work you usually have to do that. So we're really excited about that.
And the playground is sort of the brainchild of the manager because he grew up playing out there and there was nowhere to play.
There's nowhere to play, and so he wants to correct that. So we're going to do that, and we're $125,000 closer to that goal because of two wonderful individuals.
And for citizens who don't, use the Anderson Airport, explain why there's so much time and resources are being put into that facility.
Well, because we have a lot of corporate traffic, and people don't realize that, but it's corporate traffic that comes to Anderson, but also corporate traffic that goes to Clemson, and a lot of it right across the river in Georgia. That Nestle plane servicing those plants, those dog food plants over there in Georgia, they probably fly in more than anybody. And when they fly in, they buy fuel, and that's why we run the airport on the sale of jet fuel. That airport doesn't receive taxpayer subsidies. It is an enterprise fund. And of course, we do some special projects out there, but to keep it running, and we also, as you know, the county got out of the maintenance business, and we have selected a private aircraft company to do that. So that is a private enterprise out there. They pay us rent, but everything else is on them. So things are going really good at the airport, but it is a focal point. If I'm coming from Washington to start a computer company, I'm not driving, I'm flying. And so it's good. Plus, as we've said 1,000 times, every Clemson University team except the football team flies out of that airport, and 90% of the people who are coming to play Clemson fly into that airport. So that's a big chunk of business, and all people need fuel. Also, air cargo is important. That's where we make bank. When certain industries have supply problems and they start flying in those jets, those cargo jets, we love to see that. We get real excited about that. And as usual, we have the usual blimp traffic. We had the Video Music Awards blimp out there last week. We don't know when they're coming, but you look up and there's the Video Music Award blimp at the Anderson County Airport.
And back at the Civic Center, how often do y'all get updates on the track that's going to run from the Civic Center to ANMED's 81 campus walk track across the parkway?
I'll go out there and look at it.
That end down toward the Civic Center is huge progress right now.
Yeah, the biggest thing down there, and the primary effort was to start there. The biggest thing right there is building that bridge. And you can look at that. That's not a simple bridge, and that's going to turn into the Civic Center. But then we're going to pick it up and push it a little bit further into the Civic Center. So I'd say maybe 20%, 25% complete.
Think by next year they'll start on the other end of it?
I think they're going to make a whole lot of progress. They're already doing a little bit on the other end. But now we have Councilman John Wright, and our council's always thinking of things to make Anderson better. And Councilman John Wright's met with the mayor of Clemson, and they've had some discussions. And we've had some discussions, but one of the ideas is percolating. Clemson has an ambitious trail program. They're going to run from Clemson to Southern Wesleyan University and to Pendleton. And the city of Anderson has an ambitious trail program. So why don't we run a trail from the city of Anderson to Sandy Springs to LaFrance to Clemson? And the political leaders are thinking about that. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I think that would be a great, great thing for our area.
I know you mentioned John Wright. He's working with, with his colleagues on City Council to have law enforcement things, trying to get more city and county cooperative efforts together because he's friends when they both want it.
Yep. Well, we
have the Law Enforcement Appreciation Day coming up.
That's coming up, and a lot of people are buying tables to support that. That's going to be a wonderful event to support city and county law enforcement officers, and I know a lot of our council members are going to be attending that, and that's going to be a great event. But that's something he and Kyle Newton are doing because they want to do it, and that's wonderful.
And it's going to hopefully lead to other efforts, including maybe a festival or something together, because it's getting those individuals that are connected to get this kind of stuff done.
Well, Those are two young leaders, and they have a lot on the ball.
What about the dog park at Paws?
Getting close. Getting very, very close. It's not there yet, but it's getting very close.
Be open by the end of the year?
Oh, it'll be open by the end of the year. If we hadn't been having this rain, we might be a month away. Might be a month away. And as you know, not to continue to beat this up, but we've received $400,000. Councilman Jimmy Davis has worked real hard on Dolly Cooper, and Representative Wes Cox and New Spring has chipped in $50,000, so we've got $400,000 more dollars going into that. We're looking to build pickleball courts at Hurricane Springs Park. That's a big item on Councilman Davis's list. And going over to Tommy Dunn's district, if you go to Green Pond, the amphitheater's almost finished, and you can see the dock. The dock is probably 25% complete, and you can see what that's going to do. Well, I mean, but you take this.
Well, tell people why that dock's being built there, because somebody asked me the other day.
That dock's being built there, so when you can pull up that dock, you take the fish, you run up to the amphitheater, boom, they're there, and then they're back in the water. That's why it's built there. But that amphitheater's also there. That amphitheater's not just for fishing. That amphitheater is going to be available for weddings. It's going to have concerts out there, and we're looking to when we can have our first concert that the county would sponsor to kind of prime the pump. We'd like a private individual to do it, but that is going to be really successful.
Well, as we sit here, we're less than 60 days away. Tell people about the unofficial tree lighting.
That's when we always light the Christmas tree. The Thanksgiving weekend, that Thursday. And people are sick of me saying this, but a lot of folks come home to visit Anderson during Thanksgiving and then may not come Christmas because they may have, you know, we're your folks for Thanksgiving, we're going to my folks for Christmas. You know how all that works. So we light it up that Thursday and we keep it lit that weekend, then it goes off, and then we have the big formal Christmas tree lighting with all of the events. And I'm really excited.
A week later, yeah.
A week later, and I'm really excited about that, and I've probably said this before, but we have reached out to the Pelzer Light people, and they will be here. And if you've never seen the Pelzer Light people, they only perform in Pelzer, but this is going to be a special performance right here when we light the Christmas tree. And I think that'll add a lot of fun to it.
The 41-foot Christmas tree.
41-foot Christmas tree. We're inching in on you, Rockefeller Center. One other thing, and don't want to end this on a sad note, but just something needs to be said. Former Councilman Francis Crowder, one of our former chairmen, passed away. And council on Tuesday night, because he worked so hard on the East-West Parkway and fought so hard for that park on the East-West Parkway, council is going to name the park after Mr. Crowder. And I think that's a fitting tribute for something he put his heart and soul into, and it will be there to remind people that he did that. The other
thing, be an event for that, or
would probably just do it because we had an event here in the council chamber. The other thing, Dan Durham, who was the head of the Pelzer Rescue Squad forever and a day, and a really great man. I like to say he's one of the last of the straight shooters. He was also a colonel in the Army Reserves. He was big in his church. Just about anything you can say good he was involved in, and council recognized his many achievements and just wanted to say that two great men have gone on to do greater things in other places.
It's time for some other citizens to step up.
Hey, younger generations, it's time to step up. And we've got them coming up. So I'm just really pleased about that.